Have you ever had the sense that none of this is real? That life is some weird trip? How lost can you feel? Do you remember the time you could sense the freedom of life in a space so immense? If you felt sad, you simply cried. Happiness or fear, nothing denied. But we have collected some silly ideas, entrenched in our thoughts about what it all means. This prison of me, how I am or should be. We forgot it's a play, a dramatic comedy, but it's just pretense. You're still that innocence. You don't fit in a box. What a paradox. We just pretend we have forgotten who we are. In my self-created world, I am the #1 superstar. My pretentious castle has been built on the clouds, but it doesn't bring me safety. It can bring only more doubts, but I don't know how else to survive in this strange plane, 'cause I don't know who I am, and I don't know any other way. It can seem depressing, this meaningless life. It takes your ambitions, your goals and your drive. But truth is the freedom to be everything. Thought is the servant, but you are the king. It is a great relief to get the joke of it. There's nothing to achieve, 'cause this is it.
Hello, everyone. And oh, hang on, sorry, 1 second. Let me just stop this. I don't know how to stop it. Anyway, nice to see you all. and welcome to those who are joining us on Zoom, and then also those who are watching the live stream on YouTube. So today's theme is life meaningful or meaningless? But before we get into that, let's take a few moments to tune into how we're feeling in this moment. So if you sit comfortably and close your eyes, you can take some deeper breaths into the belly. And start to bring your attention to whatever is here now. To the present experience, whatever it is for you. Noticing the physical sensations or emotions arising presently. Noticing any thoughts. We just notice them just like any other sensation. The thoughts don't have any more or less importance than anything else. We're just noticing the phenomena just the way it is. Nothing needs to be added to it or changed or fixed. Simply bringing awareness, attention to whatever is here. I'm just going to close a window that's making the wind bang here. Second. And if there are thoughts, stories that are demanding more attention, when we notice them, we just gently bring our attention back to what is arising presently, which includes acknowledging thought, but we just don't give it more attention than anything else. And as we see the nature of thought, how it tells its stories and deals in past and future, in time, in fact. We see it for what it is, and we don't take it so seriously or meaningfully. We can simply drop into this present experience, this present moment, into the emptiness, into the nothingness. Nothing to do, nothing means anything. And there's a deep relaxation with that. Letting go of all meaning, or all needing meaning. Simply being here now for no reason at all. It's simply because this is what's here. This is what's happening. And we can take some deeper breaths again. Oh, into the belly. And with each breath, feeling more and more here, now. Feet on the ground, bum on the seat. Present, alive. And when you're ready, we can open our eyes. So, is life meaningful or meaningless? Well, it seems that for many people, the spiritual search is motivated by a longing for meaning, especially when there are uncomfortable or painful or tragic circumstances or experiences that happen. And then we search for some kind of meaning to understand, why did this happen to me? Or what is going on with me or the world or life? And we don't find easy answers. And we can find theories, ideas, concepts. But to actually find the true and ultimate meaning for why things happen, we tend to be at a loss, really. We might resonate with certain theories, at least for a while, but eventually we will see that they are just a theory, and that in fact nobody knows. Nobody knows really why things happen. And we long for meaning make ourselves feel better, actually, to kind of somehow understanding why things happen seems to kind of put a coating of a kind of self-soothing feeling that if we have an explanation, at least we can spin it into something positive, even if it's painful. But to actually face the reality that things happen, or it all happens for no reason, without meaning. This is really a hard pill to swallow for most people, because essentially it means that this me, who I have believed myself to be, doesn't have any meaning, that I'm not special, that life isn't unfolding specially for me, or the events that have happened in my life carry no special meaning or don't mean that I have a special identity. They just simply happen. This means losing this special me story, this special me identity that we tend to hold very close, as if this me is separate from life itself because of its special meaning. So to lose or to see through that belief in meaning in life, it goes together with this belief that I am a separate me. Because when we believe in meaning, it is meaning for me, essentially, even if the story is about the world or about others or certain events, but essentially it's all about what it means for me or about me. And if this me doesn't mean anything, then life is simply happening for no one, for no reason. And this at first can seem very depressing. How can life be so meaningless? This, for the thinking, this can seem, very depressing. Meaninglessness usually is associated with something negative. But in actual fact, meaninglessness is freedom. When nothing means anything, then we are free. We are free to live in whatever way unfolds naturally, because not one behavior or path or opinion or feeling means anything about anything more than anything else. It doesn't have any more value or less value than anything else. And this is very freeing. To not be someone who needs to search for meaning, find meaning. This also means that I live for no reason at all. My whole existence is meaningless. Therefore, I'm simply existing for who I am and for what I am right now. This is ultimate freedom. Just simply to be happening now, just the way you are, without any judgment of one part of you over another, or without needing to be in a certain way in order to derive meaning. It's not negative at all. Meaninglessness is freedom. But it is also facing death. It is about facing the death of who you thought you were. and falling into the emptiness of who you really are as life itself, that does not have separate parts to it. It does not care more about one part of itself than another. Everything has equal meaning, you could say, or meaninglessness. It is all existing just simply as it is, without any extra sugar coating over any of it. It is naked, just the way it is. So this also means that paradoxically, everything is equally meaningful. So whatever is happening, whatever you feel, or whatever you experience, is so full of its own meaning. It doesn't need any extra meaning. So, for example, a feeling of joy, for example, this is enough unto itself, right? It doesn't need any meaning. I'm not feeling joyful because of blah, 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 just feeling joyful. Or same with pain, or same with any experience or anything that happens. It's happening. And we can tell a story about it. There's nothing wrong with telling a story of some kind of meaning. That's part of the play of life. We tell stories and we enjoy stories, but it's about knowing the ultimate truth beyond those stories. So taking those stories lightly. Those stories never actually mean anything, ultimately. They never actually give any real meaning, because everything has enough meaning. It doesn't need the thinking to add more meaning. It is enough as it is. So this glass of water, right? It is a fully meaningful glass of water just the way it is. It doesn't need to be a special glass of water for me, my glass of water. It doesn't need to be going somewhere or have come from somewhere. We can tell those stories, of course. We can explain the water or what it means in this moment. But it's part of the play. We're playing as if this glass of water has meaning. And it's a wonderful play to play that way. But it's about your intimate knowing for yourself that actually the whole play of life and every aspect of it couldn't possibly mean anything more than what it is. And it's so full of meaning because it is life itself. Nothing could mean more than that. So this meaninglessness is not a negative, depressing thing. Actually, it's a paradox. Everything is so meaningless that it is full of meaning. It is so full that it's meaningless. And this doesn't make sense for the mind, right? It's mind-blowing because it's not the meaning of the mind. It's not the stories of meaning for me. It's a sense of enoughness, that everything is enough just as it is. You, as this human, you are enough just as you are. You don't need to find meaning in order to justify your existence. You are enough just as you are. So I'd love to hear from you and how this lands in you and whether you have any questions or how you'd like to explore this theme of meaninglessness and meaningfulness. So you're welcome to raise your hand. Or also you can type a question in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't get to questions on the YouTube live stream, only to those who are here on the Zoom. Marit.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. It's nice to explore in such a depth. Like also that you can play as if things have meaning. That really resonated somehow. Because the mind otherwise thinks like, oh, I can't tell stories or something like that. Or you have to be in interaction with other people. So you have to speak about something. So
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
And the question that came into my mind was, what about love? Because it seems like that if you have a life with love, with people you love, or it feels like more meaningful somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and that's because we get this reflection that I am enough, I am loved. We feel seen by others around us, feel acknowledged, and yes, and it also feeds a sense of safety in ourselves as these humans. We need this sense of safety in community. Yeah, so this is very natural that we feel that life has more value or meaning with loving relationships around us. But ultimately, it is just as meaningless as any situation. See, we're talking, you could say, on the ultimate level, on the absolute level, that life doesn't have preferences for one experience over another. Right? Everything has equal value and equal meaning. And I say this because also, despite the fact that it feels more meaningful to have loving relationships, we can also feel dependent on those relationships or feel like we lack meaningful relationships. If we don't have those kind of loving relationships, we can end up feeling like my life is meaningless, and this is a depressing thing. So although it's wonderful to have loving relationships, and yeah, of course, this feeds us as on the human level, ultimately, life is still has no more or less value or meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's more in the part of that other humans can help us grow or that you can learn about yourself. But yeah, now, on the other hand, when you're alone, maybe you can also learn. Sometimes you need time alone. Also, yeah,
Absolutely. Like
yeah.
sometimes the biggest challenge is to be alone when we've been surrounded by people, and yeah. But of course, in our worlds, we don't have to be alone, even if we don't have close relationships or intimate relationships. We can feel love with everybody we meet, right? Everyone, you meet someone in the street or in a shop or, everywhere you go, you can have an intimate relationship. Well, I'm not saying you have necessarily physically intimate relationship with everybody, but you can have this sense of connection and openness and love. with everyone, and reflection also in nature and alone.
And do you feel like when you don't buy into that life has to have meaning, that it's more easily to love and to connect somehow? I was wondering if there's a link.
Yes, I would say so, because when you are searching for meaning, you will be searching for certain kinds of relationships or certain meaning in a relationship. You'll be looking outside of yourself or in the world, in your experiences, in order to find meaning for me, right? And this takes a lot of effort and energy. And then naturally, your relationships with people around you will be won't be honest and open relationships, because it will be more of an exchange. Like, what can I, what can you give me, right? Can you give me love? Can you give me appreciation and sense of safety? Whereas actually, when we see that there is no me, then naturally there is no you, right? Then and that everything is happening meaninglessly, then the people that come in and out of our lives are, it's beautiful, and we enjoy the connections, but we don't depend on them, or we don't need them for the meaning for me, or the sense of I am enough. And because we can see that actually it is all enough just as it is. And then the people or the circumstances that come and go in our lives are here to continually explore ourselves. Because I'm alone, actually. I'm always alone. Even now, as we have this dialogue now, it is happening in me, you, me. And so everyone that we meet is an opportunity to explore myself.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Tino.
Hello, Unmani.
Hello. Hi.
I'm not sure if I can ask it in the right way in English, but I have a question. What does it mean for people who's on the inner way and does inner work? Because then I ask if it's real or if it's not real. And maybe the question is, actually, for me, is this a question of meaning? But maybe is it not? This is a question because I have can't see the difference maybe
Between doing more inner work and not.
Because the mind says, okay, maybe this is right and this is wrong, or maybe it's real and not real. So I'm asking. So for me, if it's real or not real, if it's, yeah, is it true or not? And maybe I think this is the same. Then I ask, is it meaningful or meaningless? Maybe I have no, I'm not precise, but actually this is the question.
So you're wondering whether doing inner work is meaningful or meaningless? Is that the
Yes.
question?
Yes, and if I ask myself, is it true or not what I'm doing here? Or and yes, and I can feel the freedom and the relaxation, how you explained it. But on the other side, there is work to do.
Yeah. So it's also about taking ourselves seriously, right? So if we believe that I'm someone that needs to get somewhere, and in order to get somewhere, then I need to do this serious work on myself, then that seems very meaningful. All right. It seems to often spiritual seekers seem to believe that the spiritual path has much more meaning than, more, let's say, superficial paths, working in a shop or whatever, and ultimately it all has equal meaning, actually, which for the spiritual seeker, this is very disappointing. Because it means, this special spiritual path is just as meaningless as anything else. And so this is very humbling, right? It brings us down to the ground. Yeah, we're not special. We're not more special than anybody else who isn't on this path. It's just that this path is resonating, right? And so it is about actually resonating with what is true for you, and staying open and curious about old patterns or beliefs or identities that are playing out that you might want to look at, but to look at it as work is very serious, and it seems to imply that there is more meaning in that, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, while you believe that you are a separate me, that you need to get somewhere, it seems like there is work to do. So you can't pretend that that belief is not there. While it's there, then it feels real. So, it's I would advise just having a look at where you're taking yourself very seriously and where you're believing that your inner work is very special and meaningful for you. What does it give you? What kind of identity is it feeding in you?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It is such a paradox, just to say one more thing about that. It is such a paradox because, we could then swing to the opposite extreme and say, well, I won't do any inner work. I won't do anything because nothing means anything. And, why would I bother looking at myself in any way? And that's also not true. Because actually in knowing who I really am as life itself, I know myself to be an open curiosity that loves to look and explore this human. It comes with a mysterious question mark. And what is happening for her now? But it's not serious. It's not heavy. It's not a pushing or a trying. Yeah. So it's always growing and learning and evolving for no reason at all, without a goal, right? Because this is already absolutely perfect just the way it is. Okay. Sashko.
Yeah, this feels a little bit like if I have to choose something, if I have to make a decision, then I can take also the blue pill or the red pill. And if I stay in me, then it doesn't matter at the end from a far distance. Is it like that? Can you say something about it?
Yes, in a way, it is like that. If we look at people who never feel attracted to the spiritual path at all, they are still life itself, right? They don't need to wake up to their true nature in order to be their true nature already. It's just that they're not conscious of it. So if we resonate with this path of waking up to who we really are and a continuous evolution of the living of that, then we have no choice, actually. It's not a red pill or a blue pill choice. Like, we resonate with it. There's no, for most people on the spiritual path, it's a matter of like, if they could have chosen it, they might not have chosen it, because actually it's not always comfortable or easy. But when you're drawn to that for whatever reason, it doesn't matter why, you just have to follow what resonates, right? Moment to moment, the next, what resonates next, where life is moving you. I don't know if did that resonate with your question or answer your question?
Somehow, yes.
Okay.
But there are sometimes so many decisions, so many ways, so yeah. Maybe then the only decision is to keep by myself, I can learn in every situation about me, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
there's always an opportunity to meet myself like this or like that. That's the only meaning that there is.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Johnny.
Hi, Unmani.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see
Let's take it to 1 or 2 6. Yeah, I was kind of moved a little bit by something that Maret said in her dialogue with you, and then felt it was somewhat answered in your second dialogue with the couple, but because she brought up love, which was a sort of interesting thing to me. You know, the word struck out to me straight away because I felt, well, I'm drawn to that, and I think most human beings seem to be drawn to love. I mean, obviously it has different expressions, but it's kind of what we want. And I don't know if I'm just getting kind of lost in words, but when I sort of intellectually, I think my head rebels a little bit against the thought of, like, you know, sort of having meaningful relationships with other human beings being as meaningful as you know, having none. And I'm you know, just sort of like,
yeah.
like that sounds, you know, that sounded almost, to my intellect, it almost sounds a little bit depressing, you know.
Yeah, but I'm speaking on you know, on two different levels, you could say. So of course, for the human, having meaningful relationships is very important and valuable, and we thrive and we feel safe and we feel seen, you know. So absolutely. And the other side of the same coin is that ultimately there is no more meaning to that than anything else. So
there's no more meaning to having those values to not having those values, so to speak.
Yeah. And it's simultaneously both sides of this paradox. You know, that's the thing that the mind can't grasp. It's like, yes, you know, I feel very blessed to have you know, loving family and my son and, you know, friends and this kind of thing around me. And this gives me a feeling of, I feel loved and seen and appreciated, and it's wonderful. And who I am doesn't need that. The human thrives on it, loves it, you know.
Because it's interesting, you were talking, you know, the nurturing of the human, and because the word that came up for me was value a lot, you know, and I think, well, I've been hanging out with a friend that I haven't seen for a while recently, and I just really been enjoying these moments every now and then where we're just having this conversation, and there's just like a deep sense of listening, you know. I really enjoy that, you know. And there's just this real sense of intimacy, and just actually being, even though one of us is talking, there's just a stillness that's being really like it's, but that's, you know, that's not going to be there all the time, and it doesn't have to be, you know, because it's, I mean, in a way, perhaps, I mean, it's beautiful that it, you know, does change and moves and has,
but that's the key right there. You see, you enjoy those beautiful moments of connection and seeing and deep listening, because those, actually, in those moments, it's like you meet yourself, right? There's no separation in those moments. It's like an experience of no separation in the play of separation, of apparent separation, right? And so those moments there's like, wow, beautiful, yeah. But what tends to happen is that the mind wants to grasp those moments and say, those moments have more meaning than any of the other moments. And as much as they are beautiful and they are deeply nourishing, they don't actually have more meaning than any other moment. And I say that to the mind that wants to give it more meaning, and therefore creates a dependency or a need for those moments. And without those moments, I feel depressed or meaningless, something wrong because I don't have those moments, So if we can see it, like you were saying, like that those moments are beautiful, but they come and go, and that's life. If we are living, acknowledging our true nature and knowing the openness and the love that is who I am, actually, then we are always open for those moments to happen. Right? Whether it's with other people or whether it's in nature or alone or in any moment, we can have those beautiful connection, intimate moments.
I mean, the certain, I mean, I can certainly see that from myself when I was much younger, in like romantic relationships, just feeling terribly insecure if it didn't feel a particular way, and I'm much more relaxed about that. But I mean, but in other ways, that is the challenge of human beings, I guess, relationship wise, because actually, I can see myself, I can see huge people pleaser tendencies within myself and this type of thing, and they tend to come from this just sort of like, I don't know, just like the fear, I guess, the fear of if we think we have some sort of negative thinking about ourselves, or think somebody else might be angry with us, or something, but
this is this kind of needing or projecting the energy out there, as if you can give me this sense of I'm enough, or I have the right to exist. And if we see those patterns and thought beliefs for what they are, they don't immediately disappear or something, but we can see every time that happens, and we feel it, we sense, we can take full responsibility for that and know that we can't actually get anything from out there, because there is in fact no out there. It's all in here. It's all who I am. It's all a play of who I am. And nobody can give us what we think we need.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I really hear what you're saying.
And when we no longer need from the outside, the apparent outside, then actually this is the openness to actually receive. It works in a bizarre kind of opposite way. When we stop needing it, here it is already. We discover that it's always been here, and it is right now, without any kind of effort needed.
I guess other people respond very well, don't they, to just sort of genuineness and vulnerability. Not that that's necessarily needed, but that, it's like the mirror, isn't it?
And they respond in the opposite way when we're trying and we're making effort and we're needing. It tends to push people away, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do.
I don't know. I think it's all a little bit in my mind. It's funny. It's interesting, the topic of meaninglessness, and I've been chin wagging with my friends recently about. My friend was talking about like the Course of Miracles, and I find that type of thing interesting. So she's been around for the last couple of days anyway. Telling sort of saying, looking around her and going, everything is meaningless, and my thoughts are meaningless, and sort of calling everything meaningless. And it's been an interesting topic to you know, just to think, to talk about and think about. But you know, entering into this meeting, and I start actually sort of noticing a bit like like the idea in my head is of meaninglessness is a bit sort of like oh, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure I know how to articulate myself really, but it's like a bit the idea of meaninglessness is like a bit scary. I don't, you know, somehow.
Yeah, yes, it's true. It is. And I find that actually often when we are afraid of something, this, not always, but it often is an invitation to meet that and go there. Yeah, because we have a sense that it's true, actually. That's why we're afraid of it, because it's true. And we're working so hard to create meaning, apparent meaning, you know, because we have a sense that that life is meaningless. That's why we make so much effort to make meaning. Why would we do that if we didn't already know that life is meaningless?
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of, it's almost like a kind of a coloring brush over the thing of it. It's like this kind of meaninglessness of like a negative sort of meaninglessness, like it's lacking or something, you know. Yeah, no, it's perhaps it's a bit vague, but I'll take your invitation to heart, you know, and give it a little bit of, and try and get a little bit of space with that myself, you know.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I see that Dennis wrote, I see life as a game. In any game, we create what things mean when we create the game. Yeah. Before that, there is nothing, just being or potential. In life, meaning is everything, but we create it. Even if we are not aware of that, we can also change what things mean. But it's all just a beautiful game. This includes the game of waking up, to which I give great meaning. Yes, yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we can play with meaning. That's it. You know, we play with meaning when we don't take it seriously, to really, when we don't need meaning, because we recognize the meaninglessness of life, then actually, yeah, we're free to play as if things do mean something. And this is a wonderful play. Yeah. I see. Tino, you have another question? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Astrid having a question. Hello, Unmani. It's nice to see you. I'm not really even like having a question. I felt I felt it's nice to be in contact with you, and in the beginning you started to talk. I felt kind of rejection, or kind of, no, I don't want to hear it actually. This meaningless stuff. Today I was also meditating, and it just, I asked myself, what happens if I stop like pushing this emotional drama stuff in me? And there was just nothing. It happened. The thing that happened was the nothing thing. Nothing happened. And it was, and it stayed like this. Nothing changed, you know. There were no gifts or surprises. It was really disappointing today. Sometimes it's not this way, but today was exactly this day. It was like this. And I have the feeling that the drama about having no meaning is exactly the meaning drama, actually. It's kind of all the same. Right.
Yeah, we can make meaning about anything. Yeah, and to really face the reality of this meaninglessness it's very disappointing for the mind. You know, when there's no like woohoo special highs or something like that. It's just as it is, and that's enough. In fact, that's more than enough. Just the way it is. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, as I see, we don't have any more questions for now. We could stop there for today. Just to say that, so first of all, the next open webinar, open meeting live streamed will be on the 18th of September on the theme of how to love yourself. And I decided to put in an extra one next Sunday morning, not this coming Sunday morning, the next Sunday morning, Sunday the 15th of September at 10 o'clock UK or Portugal time in the morning, on the theme of what is it to come to a retreat with Unmani. So if you have any questions about retreats with me, yeah, that's the chance to ask. I'll speak a bit about the experience of what we do in retreats, particularly focusing on the coming retreat in Portugal in the middle of October. We have a 10-day retreat. So, and the theme for that is the heart of freedom. So I'll speak a little bit about that theme as well. So you're welcome to join. The event is not actually live on the website yet, but it will be soon. Yeah. So I hope to see you there or at the next live stream on the Wednesday. Or here in Portugal. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you also for your donations. I really appreciate everything. And see you next time. Thank you very much, everyone.